I'm Tim Hooper.
And I'm Mike Gandolfo.
And this is The Trust Factor,
where high touch
plus high tech
multiplied by high trust
equals the real estate professional's formula for success. All right, guys, welcome back to The Trust Factor. He's Mike Gandolfo. I'm Tim Hooper. And we believe that high touch plus the high tech multiplied by high trust is the winning formula in your real estate business, for your mortgage company, for your title company, in your life. In your life, trust is the breakfast of champions. You've got to earn it every day. You got to build it. You got to protect it. And when you've lost it, you got to humble yourself to go rebuild it again. So with that in mind, Mike, I think there's some things we do as professionals that we don't even hear ourselves doing. For instance, I had a coach a long time ago. I used the word try a lot. And he gave me the Master Yoda spiel. There it is. Tim, do or do not. There is no try. Now, I think try works for I'm going to try some of Mike's pizza. Kind of like the blessed hope, right? We hope for that we see not. And in patience, we wait for it. There's the blessed hope, the assurance of what's going to happen if you're like along with faith. As a virtue, try is good because try means you're open to new things. I'm going to try the pizza. I'm going to try. But as far as commitments you made in life, there is no try. So I'm trying to do this thing in my business. It's like, no, you know you need to do that thing. And all the good things you desire are on the other side of the work that I'm unwilling to do. So I need to stop trying and freaking go do it. So these little words we use, try is just one of them. Mike,
can we talk about the try word?
Yeah. Let's talk about try. And then I know you've got a dozen others, but.
Well, I think though, when I hear you talk about the try word and we're trying to figure out, distinguish between, am I open to new things or am I avoiding something? And I'm like, it's good for you, but you need to try to do this or try to do that. It's just really kind of, again, going through this line of questioning in your head. We've been using this whole exact idea of an examine, but the do you, when you say, hey, I need to try to be more consistent, I need to try. So do you not have the tools, the talent, the skill level? Like what's actually like getting you in the way from doing this thing? And if you get down to, it's like, oh, it's just like me not doing it. Well, why is that not important to you? Like, and you almost have to get to the point where you're asking yourself why to get to the bottom of the pool to see exactly where the obstacle is so that you can overcome that obstacle and get to the point where it can help you be more consistent. Because as someone who is on the larger side of human beings,
you're not that big. I can put my arms around you.
I'm 6'4", 315. Like I sometimes are eating pizza on the couch watching NFL football. They do the offensive line out there, and they're like, "Oh, like that guy's little." Like, come on, that guy's small. So the whole idea though is like, you struggle with some of these healthy habits that we know we should do, but the reality of it is that in my world here, I have not experienced enough pain that is going to come. The pain of not being consistent with habits that I need to do is going to come. So I haven't experienced enough of that pain to overcome whatever in the moment pleasure there is. So like when I'm looking at things and I'm looking at what I'm choosing to do rather than, are you scrolling Netflix? Or are you listening to a podcast that's going to help you get better? Are you going for that walk that you need to do? Or are you doom scrolling and sitting on the couch? Like where are the choices? Because the reality of it is you can't say, I don't have time for it. This is going back to some of these words that matter. You're saying it's not a priority to me right now.
It's not a priority. Yeah.
So why is it not a priority to you? If you continue down the road do you like the trajectory that you're going on, or do you need to change that trajectory? And have some real talk with yourself. Like this fits so well. These 3 episodes that we've done are kind of just like building on each other. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
But you have to have some real talk with yourself because when you say try, you're really saying, oh, this is a thing that I know it's out there, and maybe it's out there because Tim thinks I need to do it, or my wife thinks I need to do it, but it's like, no, I want to be better. I want to be this, and this is what it takes. And I can pay this price right now and achieve the thing that I want to, or I'm going to, what do they say? You're going to either pay the price of, feel the pain of regret or feel the pain of discipline. You're going to feel the pain of one or the other.
There's pain both ways. Yeah.
I'm either going to spend the money on the healthy food or I'm going to spend the money on the hospital bills. Right? Which one do I want to spend the money on?
It's powerful, man. Wow, you're going to feel the pain of regret or discipline. It's your choice. I think the word try diminishes our agency.
Correct. That's what I'm saying.
It diminishes the taking ownership, and that's why do just cuts out. I'm going to do this thing. Now, here would, I think, be a good way in our brains to process, to flip this, because going from try to do, I think feels like a massive jump for some people. And I think the better route to do from try would be, what is the thing that, and you said this, keep asking why? What is the thing that's keeping me at try? What is the thing that's prohibited? And if it is truly, I need to learn this skill, then say, I'm struggling to do that and I need to learn this skill so I can. Instead of I'm trying to do that. Yeah, I'm trying to get into running. Hey, I'm struggling getting into running. I know I need to visit Fleet Feet and get size for shoes. If you'll be honest that way, instead of this generic try, I think that I'm struggling will actually alert the universe, the people around you, to come to your aid. And that's where I think real talk with yourself, being super honest to be able to say, I'm failing at running. I really want to run. I'm failing at it because I don't know what I need. That would be a much better subset than saying I'm try. But to say do or do not, sometimes I think that just the way it lands makes us feel like, well, I would be lying if I say I'm going to do, like, I don't know how to do. Okay, there you go. There's the I don't know how to, or I need to learn how to.
I don't have
Give
the skill.
yourself
Right.
agency every time you can, because you have two things you can do in life. You can choose your thoughts, you can choose your actions. And your thoughts become your words become your actions. So your words are in there, they're just spilling out of your thoughts. So the try is coming from your thoughts of, I don't know how to begin, or this isn't really mine. My wife wants me to do this. I don't really want it. It's being super, real talk, and getting analyzing our words can be signals to what's really going in our thoughts and on our hearts, I think, and then get us to the actual action faster. So try is a good one. But Mike,
there's no commitment in try, though. That's the problem. You have to. There's commitment in do.
Yep. Yeah. I think there's a lack of honesty in try too.
Sure.
And you can't have commitment before honesty.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What's the next one you want to go to?
Okay. So you've taught me this one. I have you the thing, and it's truly from a heart posture, I think, of just flippantly using the word, but Mike, as I drilled down and really started paying attention, and now I hear it everywhere.
Our industry's terrible about this.
I realized that it is truly a heart posture of having been used in my life. And I think it actually ties maybe to a deeper cynicism that's been refreshingly being rooted out, just because of my upbringing and the some of the stuff I've shared. I think it comes from more of a beggar mentality. So watch this. Mike and I were doing a podcast, I don't know, maybe 4 months ago is when you first identified the problem. But I said, yeah, we're going to use this company. And Mike's like, you're going to work with or use? And I'm like, oh, that's good. And then Mike, I've probably said it a dozen times since. And to the point now where we're going to work with, and it's just now a reframe. But as I use the word work with, it really makes my brain think gratitude, partner, work with. I'm blessed to work with, as opposed to flipping. We're going to use this loan officer. What are we saying in that? We're going to use them.
Yeah, when we use things, they're disposable, right? Like and so to me, it comes down to this I will not let people say that they're going to use me as an agent or use me as a broker or use me as a speaker. No, because that diminishes my self-worth. And so we're either letting someone diminish our self-worth or we're diminishing someone else's self-worth if we do that. Now, there are situations, I guess, where that's true. And it is a disposable thing. But in my relational world, and making sure that, it's so important to me that we're changing this algorithm. And part of that is making sure that the agent, the lender, the title company, it doesn't matter. Your real estate professional has the self-esteem enough to let them know that you're not just a tool, that you have, that you are to be used and tossed aside, that you're there to get the one thing done and that's it, blah, blah, blah. And like, you're a ways to a means. And then the client starts thinking, it's like, well, why am I paying this person so much money just for them to do this one little thing and blah, blah, blah. Nope, you're working with me and I'm helping you achieve your dream. I'm helping you achieve your goal. And I'm an essential part to making that happen. And now you start to reframe your thought process on the value of who you are and the value that you provide. And it's going to me, it changes everything.
Huge. Standing up for your value, also seeing yourself and your self-worth and your value. It puts you in a frame of mind. So when you're working with someone, it's that gratitude, that partnership. Am I bringing to the partnership what is expected, like what I could and should? And then when it's this, hey, I'm excited to work with you. I work with my clients because some people use their real estate agent. I want to be one you work with. When you articulate that, it allows you to kind of unpack what that means. And that's a value proposition. So the word work with really is tied to more of that value and value proposition. So that's been a good one. Very healthy.
That's actually a really good thought process. And I'll hopefully not talk too much on the realtor side, but I think this is applicable to the lenders and the title people as well. So if I ask the realtor, the standard realtor, what their job description is, they would say like a used tense that I help someone buy. I help someone find the house they want to buy or help someone sell their house. Like that's what they would say. And that's a tool. That's a use. When I work with my real estate clients, we guide them as their consultant, their advocate, and their negotiator. That is what the job description. If you're going to be a real estate agent, if you're going to be one of my change agents, your job description is you're going to guide your client through an immense amount of stress, making the largest purchase that they ever make. You're going to guide them, and you're going to be a skilled seller as you guide them as their consultant, their advocate, and their negotiator. And that's a work with, that's a partnership. So
consultant,
advocate,
negotiator.
So when you think about it, the C.A.N, right? Yeah, when you think about it, negotiation is you being a great negotiator is the number one most referable skill that you can possess. But I'm going to consult with this client on what they need to do to get their house ready to sell, or I'm going to consult with this person to make sure that their home search is dialed in the way it needs to be dialed in. That they've talked to the lender to get pre-approved, that we're not just dealing in hope, that there's a process that we're going into. I'm going to have to be an advocate because there could be 10 to 15 people that are touching this file that I've got to make it close, that the client doesn't know what's going on. I'm the only person who can advocate for the client to those people to make sure that things are getting done the way that they need to be getting done. I can advocate to the other agent, advocate to the home inspector, the title company, whoever it might be. And so that's where that comes from, because that's when you define what we really do on a day-to-day basis, it falls into one of those three things.
That's powerful. C.A.N, which kind of segues into the next word, can't.
The most vile 4-letter word there is.
Yeah, but Mike, I would tend to say in this last, I don't know, couple years of journeying into like deep truth, I feel like there's a way to say can't. I think there's a time to say can't.
I wouldn't confuse can't with shouldn't.
Okay.
And that's
okay. All right, here we go. So let's unpack let's unpack the dirtiest 4-letter word, can't. Let's unpack that, because my dad growing up was can't, cut can't out of the dictionary. Can't, it's not a word. And And I agree. It's like the old quote, impossible means I'm possible, spelled another way. And I agree. I think there's the whole faith factor that comes in. It can happen if you believe it and will it.
All
And
things
if
are
you
possible
dream
through
it,
Christ,
believe
right?
it, will it, all things are possible. A small grain of faith just remove the doubt, no doubt, just faith. And so I believe that. And massive shifts, massive changes happen. People are awakened. Spirits come back to life when somebody steps forward and says, this is going to be a reality because I'm believing for it. And there's people in our life who need us to believe that. So I believe that I can't, whatever. But I think so. So let's unpack that. Let's unpack what
Well, I
can't
mean,
means in the psyche.
and again, I guess this is a core part of our parenting too. Like, we want our kids to believe that they can do anything, but they can't do everything, or they shouldn't do everything. And then so this forces prioritization, and it forces you to kind of look at what your skill set at, what are those gifts from God that you've got, where are they best applied, and making sure that you understand that I am limited by some amount of time I've got 24 hours in the day. And but we all have the same 24 hours, which is awesome. And so how am I going to make sure that I am applying the gifts that I've been given so that I'm doing the things I should be doing? I can do anything. Okay. I can. And so that removes the limits. And then the other part of the equation hones in the priority. And that's just, I guess, the way that we look at it. But when we say I can't, to me, it's more indicative, because I think one of the biggest epidemics of our time is people giving into comfort and playing small, and the limits that we put on ourselves. We know as coaching people that people are way more capable than they ever truly believe that they are. And I want to make sure that you understand that, you know what, you want to have this great business that creates the life that you really want to have, that you can, there is this both and philosophy that is available to you.
Yes.
Like we've got to make sure that you're not playing small, because on the other side of that can't, if it's truly a priority, that's where all the hopes and dreams and goals are. You know, you got to get a little uncomfortable and let's go. And yeah.
It's some people, I can't afford this. Actually, you can.
That might be different from understanding the difference between the price and the cost of something. I can't afford to pay you 3%. Well, you might not understand the cost of what happens if you go pay someone 1%.
Correct. If you can't afford, so I can't afford this. I believe in our minds, there's subliminal beliefs that we believe of. I can't. We talked about this one in the whole reframing real estate for people who have never imagined, dreamed it. They can't see themselves, and it's helping them see that they can. But it's going to start with small choices. I sent you Sabrina. Was it Sabrina? Yeah, Sabrina's YouTube channel. I forget her last name, but I was down in over in Knoxville.
With her dad, right? Yeah.
Yep, over in Knoxville, and Sabrina's got this incredible YouTube channel, and she has so many resources. It's called Moving to Knoxville with Sabrina, and she does it with her dad. And she said most of my buyers, and she's killing it on content and on actual dollars and cents. She says most of my buyers we work with, or many of her buyers work with over like a 2-year period. They do a consult. Everything is from the YouTube channel driven to a consultation face to face. And so many people she meets with on Zoom are not ready. But she instills the belief of C.A.N. And she instills what they will need to do, and the credit repair specialist and all that. And she will stay in touch with them. Her consistency after that first initial call, so amazing, where when they're ready, they are calling her up. And I thought back to our episode of like making the American dream, like being a dream keeper. It all comes back to this. Do you believe it can happen? If you start out believing it's not going to happen for this person that you're supposed to be advocating for, negotiating for, consulting with, if you're starting from a place of, this is either be super honest, like, hey, it might not be the right time, let's be really honest here. But if it can, you better be all in on that can, because your advocacy is going to absolutely show up subliminally.
Yep. And I'd much rather get that lead too early than get it too late. Much rather get it too early and nurture it and show and be able to prove my value, have that person talk to other people about how great I am, generate referrals from it, than watching someone else get that business.
Yeah.
You know
what? Mike, when I was running this region, my former company, senior vice president running the region, my team would come and be like, we need this fixed. We need this internal operations thing fixed. And I put together it was just a one pager. But I was like, I will go to headquarters and advocate for anything for you. But here it consisted of a few R's. The first one was reason. Like, why do we need this? So that was the why. Reason. Okay. And then what's the result that this will generate for our customer, for us? Like, so what's the reason? Why do we need it? What's the result? Okay. And then what are the resources or requirements? Like deadline, people, IT, whatever. Okay.
Cost. Yeah.
Yep. Just the cost. Okay. And then your personal recommendation, like just if there any note, is kind of my notes section, but in my head, I just had the flow chart of ours. You'd be shocked. It was very simple. It was an online quick click. They could click it on their phone and just talk to text. I mean, it was that simple. You'd be shocked. I'd send it out. People, they bellyache about something. I'd say, hey, I'm going to send you this link, fill it out for me. And I'll make this every one of those the 4 R's I would put on my agenda for my management meetings. You'd be shocked how many never came back.
Crazy.
Because the belly aching does not always mean belief. It means I've not stopped long enough to think of a solution. Like I've not given myself agency. It just can't. It's this subliminal can't. So
it shows victim mentality, actually. I mean,
victim versus agency. Yep.
Sure.
Versus ownership. So what's another word? Anything else bubbling?
Well, I mean, you've gone deep on a couple of them. There's two of them that I think is really interested in this real estate space. I am really big on the word client versus customer. And I do talk to people in Florida and understand that that's a different breed, but I think at the same time, before they get under a transaction, they're a client in Florida and then they can become a customer legally. Okay. We can go through that side, but you owe a client a higher level of, you just owe them more, right? Like that's a higher level of relationship than a customer who comes in, buys their thing and they move on and do whatever. And so I want clients, not customers. And then I think the other word that I hear our business just toss around, and I actually, this popped up when I was at this conference recently. And I said, and everyone's throwing around the word lead. And I was like, wait a minute. You are all using this word lead. Can we define what a lead is?
Yeah, because my degree is mass comm. I took a stint in journalism. So when you say a lead, man, dude, I'm chasing down a story. You know what I mean?
Right. Man, that's actually awesome. Like if you got a journalism lead, you're chasing down a story. I think there's an application there. But like if I get a Zillow lead, right? What do I get? I get a name and a phone number and email address, and they might be right and they might not be right. Like there's not warmed up. If I get a referral from someone else and that's a lead for me, they're nowhere close to equated the same way. I mean,
no.
So yeah. We need to be clear in our business on really what is a lead for us.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can start to understand how those leads should convert versus being happy when they convert and mad when they don't. Understanding what the conversion rate is and where we should be. And good. Then because a lead is not just contact information. That's an inquiry. Yep. A lead is not a new subscriber to your website. A lead is not there needs to be an extra step where I think where it's I gave you my contact information and I have some sort of intent to engage with you. Right.
It's good.
And I think that's another one that we just kind of throw around.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear the warm lead, cold lead, people qualifying leads, but I think online lead generation, because I've got a guy I work with. I mean, he makes so many calls for one. He took over the online sales division for his company, and he's really doing a great stuff. But he's like, dude, you got to sort through a lot. You got to sift through a lot. I'm like, yeah, but man, he's about to land this big one in North Carolina. He's like, dude, I'm going to drive down there. It's this big deal, big, massive farm. He's a John Deere equipment guy. But he's like, dude, this whole new ball game. I like your word inquiry. If it's
Yeah.
online, it's an inquiry. And I would say with those, disqualify, like lean in to try to disqualify, if that makes any sense. So don't get happy ears, don't waste a lot of time. Treat them with all of the imagination and creativity and energy you would, but lean into disqualify. Ask the tough questions sooner than later. Don't burn yourself out on those. Because they will, if they're the right fit, they will lean in. They will actually trust you more with you asking tough questions to disqualify. So inquiries. But when you get a referral, I would say that's a true like lead. That is a news story, and somebody's going to go make that headline before you. So if from a journalist perspective, you had your sources, and when they dripped you a lead, you jumped on it. You got on a helicopter and flew to the middle of the desert to get on this story. You have your referral sources. When you get a lead, or when you get a referral, that's a hot lead, go. So inquiry versus lead, I think that's pretty simple. Can I go back to client real quick?
Sure.
So client and customer, the history there is customer is somebody who walks into a grocery store and buys an apple. A client was somebody who walked into like the leather shop and had you were the master leather guy. And I needed a Western saddle fitted for my horse, for my needs, because I'm driving cattle down the Oklahoma Trail. So I became your client, and I was coming back every time I needed a leather sash on my stirrup. You were my leather, because it was a service. It wasn't just an off-the-shelf product. So truly, when you're doing the C.A.N, consultant, advocate, negotiator, you're generating clientele because they're going to come back for that C.A.N every time, right? That's the service.
I think that's true. I mean, I think, and to go further with your analogy, some people always say, well, I go buy that apple at the same grocery store. I've been going to the same grocery store for 20 years. But at the end of the day, you're still a customer because there's no consultation. There's no advocacy that's happening whatsoever. You're just going there because of convenience.
I go buy apples everywhere, though. Publix, Walmart, anywhere I'm at. If I see a Granny Smith, I'm buying a Granny Smith.
I'm going to say Kroger real quick, just to make sure Kroger gets on there too.
Kroger, so. Yeah, Kroger. I still have an old alternate
Costco
for like
Aldi.
Shell gas stations, but anyhow.
All right, man.
Clientele. This has been great. Words. Hey, listen.
They matter, right? Words matter.
Yeah, they do matter. They do matter. I'm still working on but. I'll shift a sentence from one good topic to another, and I'll say but as opposed to and. There's just another one I'm working on personally.
And I think when you're talking to your client, that you need to remember that words matter. And when they're getting all huffed and puffed and whatever else and upset because of whatever else, number one, could you have used your words to kind of set up the experience that they're getting ready to have a little bit better, right? Could we have prepared them for a home inspection report that's going to be 70 pages long? Could we manage those expectations a little bit better with our words? Can we use words like, hey, this is reasonable, this is not typical, and just so that they're not as harsh, but they're steering the behavior so that they can kind of understand where the norms are. And really what we're trying to do is set them up for success, right? Yep. Because their perspective of how their part of the transaction is so limited. Because when we negotiate, we got to be a great negotiator, but we're negotiating with that client way before we're negotiating with the other side. But we're negotiating with that client to get on the same page and make sure we're very clear on what we're going for and what our goal is. So
it's powerful, man.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
You all have choose your words wisely, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. See you guys.
The Trust Factor podcast is available wherever you get your podcast. You can even watch us on YouTube.
And subscribe to the channel so you can comment and drop your questions and share it with your team.